They specialize in personalized care for your loved ones. In clinic, at home, or virtually, they provide support, understanding, and resources to make the journey a little easier. Visit equityhealthcares.com.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Good morning, Lake Norman. Cornelius, Mayor Woody Washam right here. It's a great day in the neighborhood, and thank you for joining us today. We've got an extra special show today, somebody that works for our great town that I want you to meet and learn a little bit more about, and that would be none other than our Deputy Chief of Police, Jennifer Thompson. Jennifer, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's such a great honor to have you sitting here. I think I've known you. You've been with our department how long now?
Almost 24 years.
24 years. Well, I've been an elected official about half your time now. So, you know, I go right back to about half of your experience as a Cornelius police officer and now on the leadership team of the great Cornelius Police Department. So those guys have come a long way. It's a very different department. We're going to be talking about some of that today. But as I said, I want people to really get to know you better as our deputy chief, which you've had that title probably a year or so now. Is that about right?
A year and a half.
About a year and a half. Started out when there was a transition with Chief Balcom as the major, and then we just kind of changed your title and fancied it up a little bit to reflect what you really do, and that means that you're in charge when he's away, or you help him out,
right?
As far as running the department on a day-to-day basis, and we appreciate that. But you know, I always wonder how in the world people get in this business. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you grew up and where you came from, and you know how this calling to be a police officer came about for you.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Dallas, Texas.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Cowboys fan, so don't hold that against me. But my dad was in the banking industry. When he was younger, he was a Texas state trooper. So it was kind of in our blood. You know, it's kind of how I was raised. But he was in the banking industry, and when Bank of America, he merged with a bunch of different banks, and he was moved to Charlotte because the headquarters is here. So
absolutely,
yeah. So in '96, I moved here after I graduated high school, and just kind of had a basketball scholarship, honestly, to wing it, and was supposed to go play basketball, but I had played all my life, so I was kind of over that. So I knew that I wanted to go into law enforcement from some experiences I had in high school with some of our SROs. Just a great impact that they made on so many of our lives in high school, and liked the fact that they made connections with people, that it was more than just the uniform. You know, it was really who they were and really cared about us as students. And I thought that was a great way to serve others. You know, that's kind of what I like to do. So I started basic law enforcement in 2001 at Central Piedmont in Huntersville. I decided to do it, didn't tell my parents, and just was committed to it. And during that time, I found out that Cornelius was hiring, and made a trip up to the police department and met with a former chief at the time, Ron McKinney, and he gave me an opportunity, and I was so grateful for that, and finished BLET in 2001 and started with Cornelius.
That is quite a story, and you know, I've got a lot of Ron McKinney stories because he's in my Rotary Club.
Okay.
And still very active. I see him very almost every week there at Rotary. So we enjoy sitting together as we did yesterday at the North Mecklenburg Rotary and had a great time. But I think he was the foundation of a lot of the good things that were put in place to bring us where we are today. He was one of many great chiefs that we've had along the way. You've worked for a lot of chiefs, haven't you?
There have been quite a few, yeah, but they've all been great, you know, in their own way. They all, you take something from each one. And, Ron McKinney, first of all, given me an opportunity when I had no experience at all. So I was grateful for that. But, when I started here, we were in the old police department.
Were you really?
Yeah. So the
Over in the old bank
old
building.
bank.
Yeah.
So, and our property control room was the vault.
Vault. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my mom was probably over there haunting y'all.
oh goodness.
'Cause she worked at that bank for about 40 years
Oh my
before
goodness.
her
I love
retirement.
that.
Yeah, so we go way on back in Cornelius.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then obviously we built a new police department and moved in 2002. So, Chief McKinney, really helped pave that way for us.
Sure. That was a big move. And now you're almost out of space, but
Busting at the seams.
We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but you are busting at the seams, and me and your town board are very aware of that for sure. Absolutely. We got to take care of you guys. So tell me about some of the positions you've held here in Cornelius.
So started out on the road as a patrol officer. So the officers you see out on the streets every day, that's what I did. Then eventually moved into the detective division in 2003, latter part of 2003. And I stayed there for, oh my goodness, like 15 years. I
Wow.
was a detective, got promoted to detective sergeant, then eventually lieutenant, and stayed in the investigations division. And as the lieutenant in investigations, you're over your general crimes detectives, but also your drug detectives. So, you have more than just your detectives that investigate frauds and different things like that. So, but then in 2015, I was ready for something new. I felt like I had served enough time in investigations and thought I could take that experience out to the road.
Right.
So I went back to patrol as a patrol lieutenant and supervised 2 squads until I got promoted at the end of 2016 to captain.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like thinking of them in steps in my head, and then served as captain from 2016 to just a couple of years ago.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah. That's quite a journey. So in behind all of this, you are a mom. You're married. Tell us a little bit about your family.
okay. I love talking about my
I
family.
know you do.
I
That's
do.
why I asked.
Yeah. So I am married. My husband retired not too long ago from the North Carolina State Highway Patrol after 30 years.
Wow.
Very proud of him. He retired as a captain.
Awesome.
And we actually met when I was in the police academy. We had court. We were supposed to go observe court one day. And he was in there as his court date. And I just thought he was super handsome. So anyway, so yes, we are married. We have 2 boys. Our oldest son, Blake, he'll be 23 soon. And he now is a state trooper.
Isn't that awesome?
So he has followed in his dad's footsteps.
That is quite awesome.
And then our youngest son, Jace, is he's our caboose.
Yeah,
So he's
exactly.
5 years old when he left us.
I understand. We'll talk about
Okay.
Jason in just a little
Yeah.
bit. He was a special story to tell, and that makes it important about our family, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Our police family.
Yep.
This is Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, and we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back with Deputy Chief Thompson.
We'll be back with more of About Town, hosted by Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, straight ahead on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
It's just like clockwork in summertime. The morning, midday hours are dry, and then those scattered thunderstorms start popping up in the afternoon. Today is no different. We'll warm up to around 90. Watching for those scattered storms for the afternoon and evening. And once again, some of those storms around the lake could be slow movers. Could drop a lot of rain, could bring some flash flooding concern to some areas. Although our rain chance does start to come down a bit by Friday and as we go into the upcoming weekend. Temperature still hot. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Thursday, July 10th, the Langtree Live Outdoor Concert Series returns. Groove Skeletons make their Langtree debut. In 2024, they finished second in the Battle of the Bands and now bring their indie rock and fun stage presence to Exit 31 off I-77. Groove Skeletons play at 7 p.m. on Thursday in Mooresville at Langtree Live. Friday night at Brookdale Village in Huntersville is Live Under the Oaks. The Village stage welcomes the music of Joseph Gallo. Gallo is a pop and rock artist whose performance will get you to sing and dance along. Grab your lawn chairs and your blankets for the free show on the plaza. Brookdale restaurants will be open for dinner, and Red Rocks will be on site at the stage for beverages. We'll see you Friday night at 6 p.m. for the Joseph Gallo Show at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. The 500 Club in Statesville presents live music on Saturday with a performance by Caleb Davis. Davis is a graduate of the Berklee College of Music and plays his original songs and covers many genres from the 40s to today. Don't miss this 6 p.m. show. Visit the 500 Club online for more information on entertainment, food, beverages, and tea times. Bin 110 in Cornelius has live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Pluto for Planet Duo plays on Thursday, July 10th. John Sullivan on Friday, and Hey Ladies on Saturday. Bin 110 offers a large selection of whiskeys, wines, cocktails, and small plates. Drinks, eats, and live music are yours at Bin 110 this weekend. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series is at Charlotte Motor Speedway for round number 8 on Tuesday, July 15th, when Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts get in free. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information on the Summer Shootout and other 2025 events. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Glow on the go. Need an energy boost or immune support? Glow IV Spa delivers IV vitamin drips right to your door across Lake Norman. Feel better faster without leaving home. Wellness delivered. Book now at glowivspa.com.
We're back with more of About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
And we're back. Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam right here. And I want to invite our listeners to feel free to call in and ask us a question or tell us what's on your mind in the town of Cornelius if you desire to do that. We'd love to hear from you. And our call-in number is 844-STUDIO-4, 844-STUDIO-4, or 844-788-3464. 844-788-3464. And we're just having a great time today with our Deputy Chief of Police, Jennifer Thompson. And, I'm just telling her, I have known her my entire time, my entire 12 years that I've been an elected official at the town. And she's just been a star on our radar out there. And she has now worked her way up to this deputy chief's position, and we're so proud of her, so grateful for all that she does for our town. So we were talking about your family, and when we left this last particular break, and you're talking about your son Jace. We're going to come back and have a whole program. I think it's September, October, something in that time frame, about Jace and his detailed story of how he traveled. But the key thing I want to emphasize is the fact that Deputy Chief Thompson lost little Jace to a very dreaded disease. How many years ago was that?
It was he left in 2018, the end of 2018.
2018. Gosh, it seems like it was just yesterday.
It sure does.
Yeah, it really does. And what I want to emphasize is the family that surrounded her during that time certainly included the entirety of this community, but particularly the Cornelius Police Department and particularly town staff and particularly the elected officials that were on that town board at that time. So I remember that well, and I think that's what makes our agency pretty unique because they are family, aren't they?
Right, absolutely.
And that really helps define what is special about working in the town of Cornelius. Jennifer was telling me earlier that constantly on a recruiting binge, if you will, to keep the flow of officers coming into our agency so that we don't have downstaffing and those kind of problems to face. At one point, we had some issues with our pay scales, and I won't say it's perfect, but it's better. And we had to fight hard to get that fixed. So, tell us a little bit about what a police officer has to go through to become qualified to be a policeman, really anywhere in the state of North Carolina, because I think it's pretty consistent most places.
Right. Yeah. So in the state of North Carolina, you have to be 20 years old. It seems kind of young. Now, some agencies may have policies where you have to be 21. But a lot of the smaller agencies use community colleges for the basic law enforcement training program. Your larger agencies like Charlotte Mecklenburg, they run their own program. But the community colleges have their own programs, and they're about 6 months long. And it's everything: driving, case law, traffic crash investigations, traffic stop, anything that you can think of that a police officer would need to know. They teach you that in BLET. Now, when you graduate BLET, you still don't know how to be a police officer.
Right.
So you spend time with your field training officer, and that's really where you get that on the job. You're in it. You're responding to calls, and you take what you learn in the BLET, and you apply that when you're out on the road. But there's a background check that you have to pass, drug test, psychological evaluations, polygraphs. A lot of agencies implement those and use those as a tool in the hiring process. So, if someone's interested, we have our website.
Sure.
Has all the details about how you can become an officer.
Tell us what that website is.
It's www.corneliuspd.org. So www.corneliuspd.org. And there's a recruitment section on there. I think Cornelius is the best place to work. It's the only place that I've worked. It's where I wanted to be. What I love about it is we're not so large that we don't know each other. We know each other by name. We know family members. We're not just, our badge number or code number. I mean, it really is a family environment, and that's why it's part of our motto. But, I like that, and it seems that's what the other officers really appreciate is the fact that, we don't just say that we care. We show them that, and
Right.
That's kind of part of my story from 2017 and 18 is, I've tell people, new recruits or people that are applying, you don't want to think about bad things happening in your life, but if they do, and when they do, having a police department and a whole city organization and the whole community rallying behind you to help you, I think that is an amazing thing to have, and I would like to think it's pretty rare that
Right.
we have it here.
Yeah, I think that makes us quite special, and we've got an element of something we call community policing in our town, and I think that adds an element to your recruiting, doesn't it? I mean, not just everybody, even though they check all the other boxes,
Right.
they may or may not quite fit because of that particular element of expectations we have. Don't you think that's important?
Absolutely. It's part of our patch,
Uh-huh.
community policing. It's not just riding around in patrol cars. I mean, we believe in getting out, walking the streets, getting to know our business owners, getting to know our community. And so that's a big part of who we are, and hosting special events, really trying to learn, who we're serving. And I think that just helps build those relationships and the trust within the community. So they know, and, there's so many people in town that'll come up and ask me about a certain officer by name. And that's what it's about. This just happens to be what we wear.
Right.
Right. But we're somebody, we're a person, and we truly care about this community that we serve, and it's great here.
Yeah, it is quite amazing, and we've got elements of our particular agency here that doesn't exist other places, like our lake patrol, and that's a valuable piece of what we do. We do get a little bit of help from the county on our funding of that, which we're fortunate to get, but we do it right in Cornelius, and that to me is a special attribute to fall right in line with our philosophies that we've been talking about.
I agree.
I was down on my dock the other day and looked out in the distance, and here comes a police boat toward my dock, and it just rode by to say hey.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and the community policing extends onto the lake. You know,
It
it's
does.
not just from our patrol cars, you know,
Right.
or on the streets. So
exactly,
that's great.
Exactly. It's a tough weekend last weekend. I'm going to have George Brinzy on here in the next few weeks to talk about how that went.
Oh boy.
Yeah. George will he'll talk up a storm. That's
Yes, he
for,
will. You'll
that's
have
for
to
sure.
definitely mute the mic at
I
some
know,
point.
I know. We'll keep him straight there. But it was a pleasure to see him by surprise the other day. So my grandson was quite delighted to see the police boat pulling up at the dock. So that
That's
made his
awesome.
day
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely for sure.
It probably made the boat officer's day too.
Yeah,
It works both ways.
it does work both ways, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does. But one of the busiest days of the year, they pull up at my dock to check on me.
Yep.
That was
that's
pretty.
great.
That was pretty cool. That was absolutely pretty cool. But a lot of special things that go on at our agency, and our typical host of this particular week is I can't ever say Officer Vinny's last name, so I don't bother. But
We don't either.
If you want to help me with that, you can.
D.
but-
Girolamo,
D. Girolamo. Okay.
Officer Vinny.
Officer Vinny's what he gets. He gets it for me for sure. But what a great guy, and he helps with so many of the community events that goes on in the police department. And you have quite a few, don't you? I think I just got a notice of a pizza party or
Yep.
something that's
Pizza
coming
party.
up.
That's coming up soon.
And so I always like to drop by, not necessarily for the ice cream or the food or the coffee, but just to check in because I get to see a lot of the officers there.
Certainly.
So,
we love events like that.
yeah, I love to check on them and just get them talking to me a
Yeah.
little bit. So that's a lot of fun, just absolutely a lot of fun. But it's all part of community policing. It's hard to describe. We talk about in our town the Cornelius way, and it's hard to define what that really means. But it means really to me just going beyond the call of duty.
Right.
You've got an obligation to do certain things, and then you've got the opportunity to add to that and then that's what makes it special.
Right.
That's what makes us special. And so I hope our elected officials will buy onto that and certainly participate in the Cornelius way, and they have. This particular board has done that, and we jump right in when the opportunity is there. So I want to ask you about, our officers, they're busy, aren't they? Not only they're on shifts that they work on, but they do a lot of off-duty stuff as
They
well,
do.
correct?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
So how does that work for them? In other words, if I had a business or an event that wanted some off-duty assistance, how does that ever get coordinated?
So two different things there. So off duty, something like the parks.
Yes.
In the summertime, we're in every park. That's coordinated with the Mecklenburg County parks.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that's an off duty rate that is set by either what the parks will pay or
Mhm.
what our fee is. And then special events, people will apply for special event permit.
Mhm.
And if it reaches a certain element, then they will hire officers and pay it at an off-duty rate.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means, you still get the officer in uniform. You still get a patrol car. It just means you're working that
Right.
particular thing.
Yeah, that's a whole dimension that you
Yeah.
don't think about when you're in these officer positions. So
Right.
This is Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, and thanks for listening, and we'll be back in one moment. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We'll return with more of Mayor Woody Washam and About Town in just a moment on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
It's just like clockwork in summertime. The morning, midday hours are dry, and then those scattered thunderstorms start popping up in the afternoon. Today is no different. We'll warm up to around 90. Watching for those scattered storms for the afternoon and evening. And once again, some of those storms around the lake could be slow movers. Could drop a lot of rain, could bring some flash flooding concern to some areas. Although our rain chance does start to come down a bit by Friday and as we go into the upcoming weekend. Temperature still hot. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, This is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Looking for a unique gift? We've got it. The Local Collective is your go-to for handmade, heartfelt, and locally made. Over 40 local makers under one roof. Come visit us in July, mention this ad, and score a free gift. Visit thelocalcollectivenc.com.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
My name is Ashley. I just redid the lighting in my home, and the customer experience at Desco was second to none.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
Every child deserves a safe, nurturing home, and every parent deserves support. Barrows Parenting empowers families across the Lake Norman region with the tools, guidance, and care they need to thrive. Through education and resilience-building programs, they're breaking cycles and creating brighter tomorrows. Lake Norman Woman is proud to support and recognize Barrows Parenting as one of the nonprofit organizations impacting our community at the Lake Norman Woman of the Year Gala presented by Optimed, because strong families build strong communities.
Smile like you mean it. At Clear Smile, we use the most advanced orthodontic technology in the world. The Light Force Braces system has been proven to be more accurate and faster than stock metal braces. Located in Birkdale Landing, book a free consultation online at clearsmilecharlotte.com.
Yeehaw for rodeo season at Harrison's, the home of work, western, and wow. Whether you compete or cheer from the stands, Harrison has the looks to help you wow the crowd. Get western classics and the latest styles from Ariat, Cinch, Rock and Roll Denim, and Wrangler. Find us in Mooresville.
Welcome to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell from Temple Baptist Church in Statesville.
The Bible says in 1 John chapter 2, verse number 15, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Folks, when God talks about loving the world is not just the breaking of the Ten Commandments. The world is a system, and the worldly system is orchestrated by Satan. It feeds off of our fleshly sinful nature, and it's everything about us that wants to influence us and affect our life toward things that dishonor God. The next verse talks about the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. These are all the things, the categories of the love of the world. But obviously, a relationship with God is a love relationship. We have to make a choice. You can love the world or you can love God, but you can't do both.
Thanks for listening to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell here on WSIC.
Take your life by the reins and let the horses at Willow Equine heal and empower you. Located in Mooresville, our services help with trauma, anxiety, depression, and addiction. Love life again. Visit willowequine.com today.
Exciting news at Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville. We have opened a separate used car department. That's right, we have over 300 pre-owned vehicles on Folger Drive. That's right across the interstate from the main lot. I tell you, better to serve you with higher quality, higher quantity, king of price deals on pre-owned vehicle. Come see us today at our new location, 1011 Folger Drive, right across the interstate from the main showroom. You can't miss us. And as always, king of price, king of deals. You can't beat Randy Marion in Statesville.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A spike higher for stock in Moderna today. Shares up as much as 4% as its COVID shot gets FDA clearance for kids aged 6 months to 11 years, but not all of them, only those at increased risk of the disease. It means parents who want their children without elevated COVID risk to get the vaccine will have to get them off label. The CDC says last year only 13% of U.S. kids got the COVID shot, about half the rate of adults. Today, the FDA is starting to publish documents many in the drug industry might not want you to read. It's sharing letters the agency sent to drug companies when their approval applications were rejected, detailing information that until now has mostly been hidden from investors and the public. Today, 200 FDA letters have been shared. They contain redactions to protect confidential business information. Wall Street's index is heading both ways so far today. Dow up 0.33%. NASDAQ, which hit an all-time high yesterday, is down 0.25%. S&P little changed. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
The #1 station for people who say we're their favorite station.
WSIC.
Call now to speak with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam at 844-STUDIO-4. It's About Town on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, we're back. And as you just heard, you can call us at 844-788-3464. And we'll be glad to answer your questions with Deputy Chief Jennifer Thompson here with us today. So glad she's here, and we're getting a lot of awesome updates on things going on in the Cornelius Police Department. So I do want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned early on that one of the things that I think sort of brought you into the police work was student resource officers. And I am really proud of our town in that we now have student resource officers in every single school.
Right.
Didn't always.
Right.
We had them in the high school, and we had them at the middle school, but not the elementary schools. And thankfully, our board agreed. I tried to get it in an early on budget, but sometimes your budget process is a little tight, and adding positions is a little tough. And we didn't get it done. But later on, finally, we got the board to realize that that was a big need that we just couldn't ignore any longer with the environment in this country that we're living in. So what's your feeling about that? I know that's probably near and dear to your heart.
Oh, the fact that we're in the schools with, the youngsters, the most vulnerable age. I mean, you're talking 5-year-old kids, and to be able to be in the school, in our elementary schools, and start those positive relationships, those positive encounters at such an early age, I think is huge for Cornelius. Some children, the only time they see police, is responding to their house, or if something bad has happened, and to show and to teach them that we're good people, and we care, and we're here to protect you, and to help make sure you're safe. And so that's been great. I mean, our 2 SROs at Cornelius Elementary and JV Washam, Officer Rucker and Officer Rowe. I mean, they're like rock stars down there. I mean,
they're part of that family, aren't they?
They are, and they're so well loved, but it's reciprocated. I mean, they love being there, and love being a part of creating that environment where these kids can see us in such a good way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. It really is. And, the leadership and guidance that, we provide these kids is just incredible. I mean, it really, really is. So, that's kind of the way it goes. I think maybe I'm getting a signal. We've got a caller out there. So are you there, caller?
Of course I'm here.
Oh, that's a familiar voice to me. So you can tell us your first name.
Woody, this is Cynthia.
I
You
knew.
invited me to call. So
I
I'm
know.
calling.
I know exactly. And you got kind of a hot topic, I think, on your heart, and it's a hot topic for our town right now. So tell us about that, and we'll see if we can give you a little update.
Okay. All right. Well, yes. The hot topic is just an overwhelming concern in the subdivisions that are part of Cornelius. All of the HOA boards are having conversations and don't really know how to move forward with the issue being that young children own motorized everything, and they're not trained, and they're in dangerous situations, and we're in dangerous situations just trying to keep an eye out for when they might just pop up in the middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall concern is there's not really any local law. There's some state law, but not so much local law that enforces the state law. And it's not like as if the town of Cornelius has got enough to deal with, but how can we make these roads safer, and how can we pull these children out of harm's way if the parents aren't able to keep an eagle eye on them all the time? I mean, they're running through neighborhoods in packs of 5 or more.
Yes. Yes.
Through stop signs, they don't know. they don't know the laws of the road, and so therefore, school's out, and it cranked up before school was out. But your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to give you mine, and then I'm going to ask our deputy chief to make some comments as well. But we hear you. Absolutely. I see it with my own eyes. As we get older, and all of us are, and you walk on your sidewalks, I'm afraid one of those things is going to run over me, knock me down. And, that's just not a good thing. So, we've heard you. Your town has heard you. Your board has heard you. Your police department has heard you. And what we've got to do is get it right. And, it's crazy. This business of being in municipal government is crazy because we don't have any rights in any town in the state of North Carolina but what the General Assembly grants us. So when we go to solve a problem, we have to make sure we are in compliance with whatever those laws and statutes are, and that gets it complicated. And what we've got to do is, our citizens don't care where a state road ends and a town street begins. They don't need to be worried about that. So all this needs to coordinate, and we need to make sure we have it legally proper, because if we don't, and then there's an accident, your town will get sued. That's just the way it works, and it's our job to prevent that from happening. So that's why we got to get it right. We got to get it coordinated. We got to have our attorneys working on it, and there's a plan to do that. And I'll turn it over to the deputy chief here to give you her thoughts as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we see, just like the mayor said, we hear you on this, and we see these kids out there too. I think there's such a wide variety of bikes that they're riding, some with pedals, some without pedals, and
some with motorized, right,
yeah,
Cynthia?
and some that look like
it's skateboards too.
right, yeah, and we
Skateboard, scooters, bikes, yeah.
certainly, yeah, and we are having those conversations with our city officials and trying to come up with a solution. We as a police department only can enforce the ordinances that exist. So we're definitely having those conversations. And when we see an opportunity to educate these kids on basic safety, we do that.
And that's important. Education's a big piece of this. But it's
even within the HOAs, board members have said, kind of like, good luck with that, because even the parents are divided on it. Some say, oh, my child does nothing wrong, and it's summertime. You need to watch out for them. They have right of way. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, if this is the mentality that we're dealing with, I don't know if there's any way we can really write the law, police the street, if you've got parents that think it's okay.
Well, exactly. That does complicate it, but it's part of the education process. And once we get these any changes that take place, it's going to be our job to communicate that properly, and for our officers to spend time in these neighborhoods and make sure that the HOA has the word to spread to their residents that live in those neighborhoods. So it'll be an all-out effort to go around town to deal with this and make it safer.
And know this too, Woody, that the new owners of is it Pedigo?
Cynthia, let me stop you a second. We got to take a break, but hang on, and we'll finish up on the other side here if you just hang on for me.
Okay, no problem.
About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on the way from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
You holding on, Cynthia?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be rolling back around here in just a minute.
Okay, and I'll wrap up. I won't keep you.
Oh,
on.
no, it's okay. They just have these hard breaks we have to adhere to. So I don't want them to cut you. I don't want them to cut you off.
Well, congratulations running again. I caught that message.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Do it at least another time.
Okay. Okay.
We can get some of this stuff rolling, like what we're talking about.
I know. I know.
7 p.m. on Thursday in Mooresville at Langtree Live. Friday night at Brookdale Village in Huntersville is Live Under the Oaks. The Village stage welcomes the music of Joseph Gallo. Gallo is a pop and rock artist whose performance will get you to sing and dance along. Grab your lawn chairs and your blankets for the free show on the plaza. Brookdale restaurants will be open for dinner, and Red Rocks will be on site at the stage for beverages. We'll see you Friday night at 6 p.m. for the Joseph Gallo Show at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. The 500 Club in Statesville presents live music on Saturday with a performance by Caleb Davis. Davis is a graduate of the Berklee College of Music and plays his original songs and covers many genres from the 40s to today. Don't miss this 6 p.m. show. Visit the 500 Club online for more information on entertainment, food, beverages, and tea times. Bin 110 in Cornelius has live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Pluto for Planet Duo plays on Thursday, July 10th. John Sullivan on Friday, and Hey Ladies on Saturday. Bin 110 offers a large selection of whiskeys, wines, cocktails, and small plates. Drinks, eats, and live music are yours at Bin 110 this weekend. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series is at Charlotte Motor Speedway for round number 8 on Tuesday, July 15th, when Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts get in free. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for more information on the Summer Shootout and other 2025 events. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
About Town continues now. Here's your host, Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
And we're back. Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam right here. And we've got one of our citizens on the line who is enlightening us with an issue that I think we are very, very in tune with, but haven't resolved quite yet, but are working on it. So we have Cynthia on the line. So Cynthia, thank you for calling in, and I think you might have a couple other things that you'd like to bring to our attention and attention to our listeners as well.
Sure. Thanks, Woody. And just one other thought as far as, what police was talking about and you too about the whole educational process. I was speaking to the owners of the electric bike store, and he said that they were just as concerned because they've seen what's running around in front of their store at Antiquity. And he said that, people need to know that their bikes are governed to the lower speeds. And he's just amazed at the others that are going so fast. And perhaps at the point of origin, too, where one of these things is sold, there needs to be required an age limitation and or some kind of an education or, a certificate or something of a sort that says you know what the rules, regs, and laws are about getting on the main road about these things.
Yeah, it gets serious. And the other piece of this, which we won't get into, is golf carts. Golf carts on our streets have to adhere to certain rules and regulations. And, why is this any different, right? So,
well, last summer we had, and I'm not naming any names. Last summer we had, and it was a cart full of girls. They were running all over the neighborhood, just having a wonderful time. And I'm like, they're going right down the middle of the road, going so fast. And sure enough, they took a turn too fast, rolled the golf cart, and all police might remember this one. It was over in Glen Ridge. Golf cart turned over, girl was pinned, broke her leg, and all emergency police, everything came to the rescue. And I mean, those are valuable resources.
Yeah, they really are. So that safety is what we're all about, and that's what certainly our police department's all about, keeping our citizens safe. So
and these kids don't need to find out the hard way.
That's right.
It's unfortunate, but that thanks for letting me speak to it.
Thank you.
And I know you're on it.
Thank you. We are, but we'll keep you and others posted, and we're going to
know
get
you
to the
will.
bottom of it. We really are. So thank you for your interest, and
Okay.
you
No, well,
you
thank
certainly
you, and
you
I'll
did
let
a
you
good
go.
job in
Have a great
peaking.
weekend.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you, Cynthia, for calling in today, and we appreciate your thoughts on, we do have a few issues that is lingering out there we need to deal with, and we are doing that, but we're going to get it right this time. So off we go, Deputy Chief Thompson, into the future of the great Cornelius Police Department. We got a lot ahead of us. We talked about the fact that the police headquarters is out of space. That's just not a good setting to be in. So we've got to deal with that, and so know that we're with you on that. We're very aware of it, and I think some studies are going in a direction right now, and we'll get to the bottom of that. But we're also almost out of space in Town Hall.
Absolutely.
Who would have thought
I know.
that big building would fill up like it did so quickly?
Right.
I mean, I think it was built in the very early '90s, and it's a beautiful building, a great building, and it has served us well for many years. But if you're a growing town, we aren't growing that fast, but at the same time, you increase your services and your special things you do for our citizens, and then it requires a workforce to get that done. So we've got to address that, and I think get on the other side of it. So I'm pleased about that. But I think we're with you as well, and I'll get your comments on this. We've in the process, I think we're under contract now to provide our police department and our citizens with a armored vehicle. And, I would have never thought growing up in the town of Cornelius that we would have ever needed an armored vehicle, but I am totally convinced that we do. And I was part of the process when we went and looked at these, and was amazed at what I saw. So tell me a little bit about why you would think that would be a need for our community.
It was like you. I mean, I never thought when I started here in 2001 that armored vehicle would be something that would even be on our radar. But, with the different types of calls of service that we go on, barricaded subjects experiencing mental breakdowns, it's just a way for us to get close to a house or a business in a safer way.
Right.
And, your larger agencies have multiple. But it was just time for us to be self-sufficient and have our own vehicle.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, what this will do, it will save lives.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're all about.
Right.
We are absolutely about that. And we have all kinds of situations, whether they be domestic or otherwise.
You never know.
Mental or,
Right.
There's just, you deal with that way too often in these times. Drug issues and things like that cause good people to do weird things.
Yeah.
So, you've got to protect those officers. That's what it's
And
about.
we feel like, if it never gets used, but when you need it,
Right.
is when you need it and when it matters the most.
And who knows when that is.
You never know.
Yeah.
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 So we're excited.
Exactly. So our canine element of the police department, how many dogs are we up to now?
We have 4 dogs right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I've met most of them.
yeah. Yeah, they all have their own unique names. But yeah, we're, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's just amazing how much we've grown. And, when I started here, we didn't have a canine. I think there was one before me, but now to have, one almost on every squad,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty awesome. We used to have to call other agencies, and that was such a delay. And again, it's one of those things where we can be self-sufficient.
Right.
We don't have to rely on someone else, and we
Right.
have our own. So
Yeah.
and we love them. They're a part of our family.
Touch on a little bit about how technology has made a difference in our agency here, and law enforcement has changed. I think over the 24 years you've been there, and certainly the 12 I've been elected and been more interested in, in the middle of all that. So how is that, how does that play into getting our jobs done?
What we do. So the good thing is pretty much everything can be done from an officer's patrol car.
Mhm.
When I started here, we would handwrite our police reports.
Mhm.
Everything now is done electronically. There's so many different technology resources out there for investigators. Crimes have changed. The way the crimes are committed, frauds. So you rely on technology to help you with that. Cell phone downloads, computer downloads. When we have computer crimes, we have the capacity to do something further than just sitting there looking through someone's computer. We have one thing that we really like is that we don't have to drive to Charlotte all the time to meet with a magistrate or a
Mhm.
judge. We can do that over a teleconference. So just little things like that have made a big difference in the way, in our efficiency, time management, that the officers can do so much from their car. Our detectives have their resources where we're not having to reach out to the state or another agency to help us. But yeah, we have so much at our fingertips.
Yeah, that's a real good difference that I think is in place. So, speaking of the magistrate, we continue to work pretty hard on getting a magistrate here in North Mecklenburg. Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's a great idea, not only for police, but I think also for victims of crimes, domestic violence victims. When you have someone who's a victim of domestic violence and needs a protection order,
Mm-hmm.
having to go to Charlotte to start that process is it can deter them from that
It's
because
just not productive.
it's not, and that they're already dealing with an overwhelming situation, and then for us to say this is your option where you have to go, I think it's a great resource for officers and our community to have a magistrate local.
Yeah, that's been a tough road for us, and I know we've been working on it. My being part of the Chamber of Commerce, it goes way on back. For probably 25 years, we've been working on that, and I'm not giving up. I'm absolutely not, because I agree that it just has got to happen one day, and we've got the space. Huntersville
Right.
Police Department is very large and has extra space and has committed to provide the space free of charge for this particular position. We just got to get the position funded. And
Right.
we've gotten really close, and then we've had to back off, and we'll move it forward. And it's just it's been a difficult thing to do, but it's about money, and it's about the funding component of that. So, anyhow. But what a great day it's been here with you, Deputy Chief. And, your story is very compelling. I hope we've got some interested young police recruits out there that will check that website
Oh, yeah.
and become a part of the great things we do at the Cornelius Police Department. Very proud of you guys. And, I don't think there's any talk about defunding in the town of Cornelius. You haven't had to worry about that. And while I'm around, you won't. That is
We
for
appreciate you
sure.
and
So,
our board and town manager. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to work. And call me if you want to try it out.
that's right. Absolutely. We'll make it happen for you. So this is Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam. Thanks for listening today, and we'll be back next week. Have a good day.
Serving you better than ever before. 1059 100.7 WSIC, Statesville.